And good afternoon. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News, coming to you again from our digital desk. And we're going to take you to a live picture out of Vatican City. Some of the ceremonies and the remembrances already beginning for Pope Francis. The Pope died early this morning as Vatican mourns. We start to look at connections to Northeast Ohio. And not only Rome and the Vatican City and the Pope, but here at home, looking for people who may have had a chance to be in the vicinity of the Pope, and that brought us to St. Ignatius. And we learned this morning that there is a contingent of students and staff who had a plan in the works for months, obviously, and had planned this week to leave for Rome. And the hopes are that that is still possible. We're going to bring in the president of St. Ignatius High School, of course, here in Ohio City, Father Raymond Guiao. Father, a little under the weather, he told us, has a little bit of laryngitis. So we certainly appreciate you joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing well, all things considered. Thank you very much.
Let's talk first of all about the passing of the Pope. I think we all woke up to the news of this today. Give us just your initial reaction. Had you ever been in services led by the Pope? Had you ever met Pope Francis?
The only time that I've been in the Pope's presence was back when I was leading a pilgrimage of faculty and staff members to Spain and Rome. And while we were in Rome, we happened to be there on a Sunday afternoon when the Pope traditionally delivers what's called his Angelus message, a wonderful time where people gather informally around noon, and the Pope appears on the balcony to lead a prayer and to give a brief address. And I remember that very, very fondly because he welcomed visitors from all over the world, including from St. Ignatius High School in Cleveland, Ohio. So we got a nice shout out from Pope Francis that day.
Wow, a nice shout out, as you call it there. Let's talk about this trip. How long had this trip been in the works? And there was a special mission behind this, and to try and save your voice, I'll let people know. And I just want to show this live picture in Vatican City, and I believe this is St. Peter's Square. Just thousands of people descending on the Vatican City to pay their respects to such an incredible Pope, Pope Francis, for the last 12 years. And again, these are live pictures here. I know one of the purposes of the trip for the young men of St. Ignatius and the staff there was really interesting for the canonization of a young saint, a 15-year-old young man who would become the first millennial to be a saint. He was an Italian young man stricken with leukemia who would die at the age of 15. But there are two recorded acts of miracles performed by this 15-year-old, and he was supposed to be canonized on the 27th. That has since been canceled, moved back a week. They're going to do that canonization now, sort of combine it with the Mass of the Adolescents, or the Jubilee of the Adolescents, a big pilgrimage of young folks to Rome. Now that I've gotten that out so that you don't have to use your voice to say all of that.
Thank you.
Let's walk through how long has this trip been in the works, how many individuals were going, and I guess where does it stand now?
Yes, well, we've known about this trip, received the invitation several months ago. Very excited to receive this invitation from the Jesuit school in Milan, Italy, where Blessed Carlo Acutis, this candidate for sainthood, went to school. As you said, he died an untimely death at the tender age of 15. So we were very excited about the prospect of going to the Vatican to attend the canonization mass by Pope Francis, a Jesuit pope canonizing an alumnus of a Jesuit school. who knows when that might ever happen again. So we really wanted to jump on this chance. Fantastic trip that has been planned. It's still a little bit up in the air as to whether or not we will go, obviously, because the Pope has passed away. That is changing many things on the schedule in Rome. So we wait to hear what will happen with the trip. Apparently, there are two Jesuit schools from the United States planning delegations to go to Rome for this great canonization ceremony. St. Ignatius High School, as well as Regis High School in New York City. A total of about 200 young students from Jesuit schools all over the world are planning to attend. We would start in Milan, Italy, where Carlo Acutis grew up, and then take a train to Assisi to see his body where it lies in state in Assisi, and then continue on by train down to Rome for the canonization mass on Sunday. Again, still a bit up in the air.
How many students from Ignatius are in the contingent, and maybe how many staff?
Right, we have 6 students from from St. Ignatius High School, chosen by the principal and by me. The other staff member going with me is our principal, Dr. Anthony Fior. So we're really looking forward to and crossing our fingers still that the trip may still go.
I can't imagine these 6 young men that are going already for the purpose of the canonization of the saint. Such an incredible story involving a young man, would be obviously in their same age range, but now to potentially be in Rome, in the Vatican, whether post-funeral, whether it's in the days leading up to, or maybe even as we get into the selection process of a new pope. This would have to be, it would have already been the trip of a lifetime, but to hit at the core of their beliefs, at the core of Catholicism, and to be in Rome at such an important period of time, what would this experience be like if that trip does get to happen for these young men?
Well, certainly for the planned canonization, this would have been the trip of a lifetime for a young saint, really someone who was only 15, about their same age. To witness him being canonized would have been the stuff of great stories for them. So in that sense, I really hope that the trip goes. The death of a pope, the days of mourning that happen in the days ensuing after the death of a pope, these are things that are also the stuff of great stories. And if we do make it to Italy, we will have our time to honor the memory of Blessed Carlo Acutis and make our way down to Rome, certainly to pray for and honor the memory of a great Pope, Pope Francis.
So, and I'm going to cut this interview a little bit short here to save your voice as well.
Okay.
When were you supposed to leave? And then what do you think might happen, or when will you find out? I'm sure there's got to be a lot of conversation.
Yes, there is quite a bit of conversation, even with Italy, from the time we woke up this morning. Our plan was to leave on Wednesday morning, so the day after tomorrow. The plan was to stay all the way through the canonization mass on Sunday, and then departing from Milan, Italy, back to our home base here on Monday, the 28th. Again, we really hope for the best. We want to make the very best decision that we can for our students.
We have been speaking with Father Raymond Guiao. He is the president of St. Ignatius, hoping to lead a contingent, a delegation here from Northeast Ohio to some very special events taking place in Italy and in Rome and at the Vatican City. Father, we're going to continue to touch base. Hopefully this trip does go off for the young men of St. Ignatius, for yourself and the principal there at St. Ignatius High School here in Northeast Ohio. Certainly appreciate the time. Rest up that voice.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dan.
All right. Take care, sir. Again, just an opportunity to touch base with, you know, when you have a major event like this, and I want to bring up pictures again as the sun begins to set in the Vatican City. There are ceremonies happening there in St. Peter's Square. Just some beautiful moments to honor the passing of Pope Francis. We will continue our coverage. Look for all of the latest when we start 3.5 hours of news and first alert weather on Channel 19 at 3 o'clock as we all remember the passing of St. Francis, or of Pope Francis. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a good afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.
Father, thank you so much for the time, and we will be in touch. Good luck to you folks.
Thank you, Dan. Really appreciate it. Have a good day.
You take care.